Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Kiki, how you doing? How you doing? Got a good conversation tonight. You know, we're all up in these politics, these political things. You know how we doing it. Battle Genja, my brother, what it is. Yeah. We're talking about politics from a different angle tonight. Not a new angle, just a different angle tonight, right? You see the title. Fear-based voting will never get our needs met. Having a conversation about how a good number of us view ourselves in the political realm. How our powerlessness is on display on the international scale. You're gonna see what I'm talking about when I get the video going. But questions were asked and they were answered in a way that I enjoyed. So I said, hey man, I need to talk about this. I need to bring this to the family. We need to talk about this together. All right, man. Yeah, let me get that. Let me check that out, Battle Genja. I appreciate that. So y'all please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. Cause it's going down tonight. Will, my brother, what it is. Hey man, y'all make sure y'all check out Will Justice on Facebook. My brother be going in. My brother got a lot of good information, and he advocating for the brother Mercutio Southall. So make sure y'all check out the brother Will Justice on Facebook. I want to give a big shout out to the brother Jeff St. James over at Ask a Brother Podcast for popping up on Saturday, stopping by, and being able to, explain and give his piece on the Men's Table podcast where they were talking about the Funky Dineva situation. So I really appreciate that and his perspectives and everything. So big shout out to Jeff St. James, and make sure you go over there and subscribe to the Ask a Brother podcast. A lot of great information, a lot of different perspectives that you can sift through. So yeah. So we're not even going to waste a lot of time because it's a school night. So you already know we ain't going to be here all night. So we got to go ahead and get it right. So let me go ahead and run my commercial now, but please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that hype button. Please hit that hype button. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you got your notification bell turned on. And if all that fails, just make sure you show up here every Tuesday at 9 p.m., every Saturday at 3:30 p.m., every Wednesday at 7 p.m. And remember, tomorrow night, myself, Patrick Irvin, Professor Carl Tone Jones, we got our Wednesday night breakdown. We're talking about these redistrictings that have happened in Tennessee and some of these other states. So, Terrell, what's going on, my brother? How you doing tonight? How you doing? Yeah, I remember you told me they're having a hunger strike. They're having a hunger. Man, we got to talk some more. We got to catch back up. We got to do a part 2 and talk some more, man. We definitely got to talk some more about that. Got to get an update, man. But like I said, let me go ahead and run my commercial, and let's go ahead and dive up in this topic, man, because we ain't got all night. So I told y'all I was gonna get my merch shop up and running, so I've got it. So I want to show y'all my merch shop. So this is it. So I got some hats. So I got my own The Shoulders of Giants hats available for order. I have shirts. This is supposed to be like a canvas, some kind of shirt, jersey shirt. I don't know why they got that design, but it's a jersey shirt. Somebody wanted. Got hoodies, regular shirts, heavy. What they call it, the heavy tee, tees for men's, unisex tees for women, everything. I got a mug. I gotta get this mug too. But this is the merch that I have available. See, I got my mug, I have my hats, and I have my apparel available. And all of that is, the links and stuff are below and connected to the video. So I got my merch shop up and running, been working on that for a minute in the background to get my merch shop up and running. So I got it up and running. So if you want to support the channel and get you some merch, it's all available. Links below and links attached to the video. All right. Hey, Will, remind me, what city and state Mercutio is currently in. Like, where is he currently now? How you doing, Black Butterflies? How you doing? Welcome to the live stream. And look, I just appreciate you supporting when you can. It don't matter when you can, just when you can. I just appreciate it when you can. All right. So tonight we are diving into a very serious conversation, and this conversation was inspired by a video that is titled "The Vote from Selma to Salam, Part 1." And we are examining a question that reflects the mindset of many of Black Americans right now. So the host of the show, and you're going to see when I show the video, the host, well, a Black woman wrote to the host and said, "My grandmother marched in Selma so I could have the right to vote." Now, think about that emotional weight of the statement, right? She's not talking about politics as theory. She's talking about inheritance, sacrifice, history, and survival. Then she goes on to say, and we're going to hear it, "I'm raising 2 kids on a hospital tax paycheck. I don't vote blue because I love Democrats." And that was important. She said, "I don't vote blue because I love Democrats. I vote blue because Republicans are coming for my son's Medicaid. They're coming for my daughter's education." Right? So, and then she asked the most important question to the host. She asked, "You say both parties are part of the same system, maybe so, but what are you actually offering me?" So this woman in America asked this man who's not in America, who has nothing to do with what's going on, but he just gives commentary. She asked him, "What are you actually offering me? Basically, what can you do for me? What information can you give me to be able to help me?" Right? And that's a serious question that deserves a serious answer, right? Because whether people want to admit it or not, a large portion of Black America is not voting from inspiration. We're voting from fear of losing what little protection we believe we still have. So we're being real clear tonight. This has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. This is about us. This is about our lack of political strategy, our lack of ideology around that, right? Because too often Black Americans are told politics is about loyalty, right? About symbolism, about emotional attachment to parties that may not even be emotionally attached to us. But politics has never fundamentally been about love. It's been about power, it's been about leverage, and it's been about organized interest. And one of the questions we have to wrestle with tonight is, if a political party already knows it has your vote, no matter what happens, what incentive does it have to radically improve your conditions? Because it really don't have no incentive. And at the same time, we also have to deal honestly with many Black Americans' fear of the Republican Party. Those fears don't appear out of nowhere. People see attacks on voting rights, education, healthcare, diversity programs, and social protections. And they often conclude that one party may dislike them while the other party neglects them, right? So what happens when the people feel politically homeless? What happens when your political participation is based on avoiding danger more so than building power? So tonight, forget the emotional slogans, forget the party cheerleading, forget the fantasy politics. We're talking about strategy, talking about survival, talking about leverage, talking about building power. And we're going to ask whether Black Americans are truly playing the political game to win. And I think we already know the answer to that. Or are we simply trying to survive inside somebody else's system? So that's what we're getting into. All right. So will you say Mercutio is in Morgan County Jail, which is in Decatur, Alabama? Okay. Morgan County Jail in Decatur, Alabama. That's what's up. Hey man, I appreciate you on the Ivan Van Sertum. I appreciate it. Kenneth Wanamaker, my brother, what's going on? What's going on? Hey man, we gotta get our strategy together when it comes to voting, man. Alfonso, how you doing? You said, you know what's interesting about this topic matter? I'm reading a book called White Rage, The Threat to American Democracy by Tom Schaller and Paul Waldman. The two major parties, primarily the Republican Party, uses a lot of culture war, color confrontation rhetoric to their rural white voters to vote for the rich, aka the smartest and the most powerful. Similar stuff being used, but let's go ahead and use our time wisely. Let's go ahead and get into this video. Let's keep these comments flowing, man. Let's keep these comments flowing, and let's put our thinking caps on, and let's check this out. And let's not use our emotions, but our critical thinking on this. So let's go.
I received an email from an African-American woman living in the U.S., a Democrat, and she said, Brother Bolson, my grandmother marched in Selma, Alabama during the Civil Rights Movement so that I could have the right to vote, she said. I'm raising 2 kids on a hospital tax paycheck. She said, I don't vote blue because I love the Democrats. I vote blue because the Republicans are coming for my son's Medicaid. She said, I vote blue because they're coming for my daughter's education, her library books, and so forth. She said, you say that both parties are part of the same system. Maybe so, but what are you actually offering me, she said. What are you offering somebody like me in November or in an election year? Not some Islamic civilization 100 years from now, but this week, right now, here and now, in America, when I'm about to cast my ballot. Okay, first of all, I'm not...
So before he get deep into it, let's run it back. I want to run it back again so we can make sure we hear it again and hear it clearly what the question was.
I received an email from an African-American woman living in the U.S., a Democrat, and she said, Brother Bolson, my grandmother marched in Selma, Alabama during the Civil Rights Movement so that I could have the right to vote, she said.
All right.
I'm raising 2 kids on a hospital tax paycheck. She said, I don't vote blue because I love the Democrats. I vote blue because the Republicans are coming for my son's Medicaid. She said, I vote blue because they're coming for my daughter's education, her library books, and so forth. She said, you say that both parties are part of the same system. Maybe so, but what are you actually offering me, she said. What are you offering somebody like me in November or in an election year? Not some Islamic civilization 100 years from now, but this week, right now, here and now, in America, when I'm about to cast my ballot. Okay, first of all, I'm not...
So one of the first things that we're dealing with is Black people feeling politically trapped. Fear-based voting. I don't like the Republicans, so I'll vote for the Democrats, even though I don't believe in them. Because that's basically what she's saying. And that's basically what she said. I don't believe in this party, but this party is the lesser of the 2 evils. Because remember, that's the rhetoric that's been fed to us all of our lives. Well, you should at least vote for the lesser of the 2 evils, but you're still voting for evil, right? So Black Americans are feeling politically trapped. Black Americans are not voting out of hope or belief or strategy, but fear-based voting. Fear-based voting. Nemesis, you already know it. You already know it, Nemesis. You on time, my brother. You on time. DSB, how you doing, my brother? How you doing? So Black Americans, we are. I don't think anytime soon we will participate in politics as a power block. I don't. So basically, what we are doing is reacting to threats. We're reacting to threats from the Republican side out of fear, and so we're gonna go with what we've always gone with. We're gonna go with what is comfortable, right? So, and remember, that lady sentiment represents a lot of Black people in America, millions of Black people in America. You know, I talk to a lot of people, and a lot of Black people have basically said, you know, I would never vote Republican because of this, because of that, and it's all of the same rhetoric. Now, once again, I'm not advocating for us to vote Republican, but what I am saying is to align ourselves with one party based out of fear of the other party is crazy. And it made me remember going back to one of the live streams I had when the brother was playing the devil's advocate, and he was saying that, well, he've heard some Democrats give pushback to that. Black people who are Democrats give pushback to that, saying, well, the Republicans keep us safe. they protect us, or excuse me, the Democrats protect us from the Republicans. And I was like, that's wild. That's wild. But just want to give that thought right there. So, but we gotta, when it comes to voting, we need to throw our whole strategy out and start over. We got to throw the whole strategy out and start over. No, I didn't do a street interview series on this, but that'd be a good idea though. Ooh, that'd be a good idea though. Did I do a street interview series on this? You know what? You're gonna make me go back and look at my catalog. I don't even remember. Joe, it's not real reacting if you don't actually ever stop the Republicans. I mean, you know. But let me let the brother continue talking. I'm a battle against you. You know what? I'm gonna go back and look. You making me go back and look. I'm gonna go back and look.
Not running for office. I know you got used to selling your vote in exchange for promises, in exchange for IOUs. Meanwhile, your politicians, by the way, are selling their policy decisions for cold hard cash. They're selling their policy positions for board positions and corporate shares and so forth. But you got used to being appeased, and you got used to being catered to with pretty sounding words. And now you want me to use those same pretty sounding words as if I want something from you. There's no transaction here. I don't want anything. Okay? Now, first of all, let's be clear about something. Your grandmother did not march in Selma, Alabama for the right to vote. No. I know that's what you've been told. I know that's what the textbooks say. That's what the legends all are. That's what the speeches and the documentaries and whatnot about the civil rights movement tell you. But obviously, nobody is going to take a billy club to the side of the head just for the right to put a piece of paper in a box. No one is going to bleed on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in exchange for the privilege of pulling a lever in a booth. That's not what she was doing out there. That can't be what she was doing out there. Not at all. No, she was marching for what voting was advertised to her to be. You understand? For what they told her voting was. They told her that it was a process by which her voice could be heard, by which her presence in that country would be acknowledged, would be recognized. A process by which she would count in America. She marched for representation. She marched for dignity. She marched for respect. She marched for citizenship in the full sense of that word. She marched to be a person whose existence in that country could actually shape the way the country operated. You understand? So then ask yourself, did voting deliver that? Did voting deliver any of that? No, what she marched for, you still don't have. That's the truth.
That right there, right? What he's saying in that piece right there, right? I thought that was very important. And I like that he said that, because I've often had conversations with Black people about voting. And when I've heard them in conversation with myself or others saying either they're going to not vote at all or not vote for a specific candidate or not vote for a specific party, i.e. the Democratic Party. Well, the idea is, well, you have to vote, and you have to vote this way because our ancestors died for us to vote and vote this specific way. And it's like, well, let's dig a bit deeper on what you were saying that our ancestors actually died for, just for the right to vote, like just to vote, or to actually, like you said, to get something for your vote, to actually get real change from your vote. Because I think that's something critical that we have to look at, because that's perspective. Because it's like, okay, I have to vote just to vote versus I'm voting to get a desired outcome. So our ancestors, as he's stating, marching to get the right to vote that will lead to a desired outcome. Our mindset is, well, I'm gonna vote because I just need to vote. And we don't really care about the outcome. The only thing we want to do is not let the Republicans win. We're not even thinking about ourselves. Think about the difference in that. With ancestors, I'm voting to get a desired outcome. Versus us, I'm voting because I don't want the Republicans to win. We don't even damn consider ourselves. That's crazy. That's crazy. PC, what's going on, my brother? That's crazy, man. Like we don't mind propping up people, period, who don't give a damn about us. That's crazy.
So now all you did was inherit a ritual, a voting ritual, an election ritual, and you call that her legacy. So now you go out every 2 years, every 4 years, and you perform that ritual. I mean, that's like if your grandmother fought for the right to chop wood so that she would have lumber to build a house, right? She fought for the right to chop wood. And now 60 years later, you're still going out chopping wood, stacking it up, but the permit to build the house never came, and it never is coming. But you keep chopping anyway because you think that's what your grandma fought for. No, that's not what she fought for. She didn't fight for the right to chop the wood. She fought for the right to have a house, to build a house. The chopping of the wood is a means to an end, and you keep confusing the means with the end. And the people who are running the system are very happy that you're getting those two things confused. Voting is not what she fought for. It's not what any of them fought for. Representation is what she fought for. Dignity is what she fought for. Respect, participation. That's what she stood for, and that's what you should be standing for today.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you that what she stood for has almost nothing whatsoever to do with what happens on the first Tuesday of November in an election year.
Right.
That's not an opinion. That's not an opinion. That's the truth. There's a study by a law professor at the University of Chicago, Nicholas Stephanopoulos. He looked at federal legislation, and he asked a very simple question. When African Americans support a policy, does it become more likely that that policy will come into being? You would think yes, obviously. You would think yes, because that's what representation means. But what he found was the exact opposite. As white support for a policy goes from 0 to 100%, then the chances of it passing rises from about 10% to about 60%. Okay, that's representation. That's what representation looks like in the data. But as black support, as African American support goes from 0 to 100% in favor of this or that policy, the chances of it passing falls about 40 to 30%. Did you hear?
That's what you call being powerless. But I mean, why would they take our support for something or our so-called representation for something serious? Nothing about Black America is unified. Nothing about Black America is aggregated. So what? They're fans of it. So what? Black people like this. So what? Guess what? We're gonna do the opposite, and they ain't gonna do nothing about it, and they still gonna vote the same way. Why change? Why do anything else? They're not gonna do anything else. Insanity. Insanity is embedded. Like you're saying, we're on autopilot. We're on autopilot. So what are we talking about? We got to approach politics different, but also like this. It's embarrassing that he's making this video and that a lady from the United States wrote a letter to a man who don't even live in the United States talking about what can you do for me when it comes to politics. This man not even here. And this man got a better perspective on what your grandmother fought for than you do. You telling him about what your grandmother fought for, but you don't even really understand the perspective. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that we out here, that some of our people are out here like this, and she has the nerve to write this letter and send it off to this man. Dude he made a part 2 of this. This is crazy. Our political chumpness. Remember, Malcolm X said we're political chumps. It's on display. It's on display. says they have in many articles made it clear they were corrected in the ratification of the 14th Amendment, and now the voter is gone. They've openly said they're after the 14th. One party plays in our face, making fake promises just to get our votes. The other party tell us straight, we ain't giving you nothing. Straight up. I think what is happening here is a criticism of what has been blinking green, and not just black but non-black. The politics of zero-sum gamism, and both parties have played on that. There you go. Well, especially for us, particularly for us, because they know the majority of us are still motivated by fear, still moving by fear and ritual. I like that word that he used, ritual. Fear and ritual. So yeah, they gonna keep playing. Why stop? It's like if this was a football game and you can't stop the 22 dive. I'm averaging 7 yards a carry on the 22 dive the whole season. Why would I stop? Nobody can stop it. Nobody's trying to stop it. Nobody's came up with a strategy that's even close to stopping it. Why would I stop running the same play? You know what I'm doing and you still can't stop it. That's called dominance. That's a level of dominance that you have in your realm. Like, you know what I'm doing and you still can't stop it. Matter of fact, you're going to support it. In this case, you're going to support it. You know what I'm doing and you still going to support it. Wait till it's time to go to the polls. We're gonna see all this rhetoric that we have from a lot of these people with a lot of these microphones and a lot of stuff people are saying. We're gonna see what the turnout happened. We're gonna see how the turnout, what the turnout actually is when these poll results come out. But let's let the brother keep talking.
Black support for a policy makes it less likely to become a law in the United States of America. That's not underrepresentation, that's negative representation. Means your endorsement of a policy is detrimental for legislation in that country. It's detrimental to the policy if you're for it. Then there's a broader study that was done by Princeton and Northwestern. They did a study where they looked at 2,000 federal policy decisions over the course of 20 years, over the course of a 20-year period. And they found that the preference of average Americans of all races, by the way, all races, their preference has a near zero, statistically insignificant effect on what the government does.
Right.
Almost no effect whatsoever. Meanwhile, the wealthy and organized business interests have a substantial effect. They decide everything at the end of the day. So the average white voter has no real representation either. But black voters sit inside that already rigged system, and they just get a little additional racist penalty stacked on top when they support a policy.
Power. That's what happened when you don't have it. I put out one of my videos I think last Monday, and I saw some people in the comments tonight. I'm not powerless. Yes, you are. If you're a black American, he's explaining how we're powerless. So the policies we support strongly don't get pushed because they don't have to. What we gonna do about it? What are we gonna do about it besides go on TikTok and yell into the camera? Yeah, because that's really got people shaking in their boots.
You understand? Okay, your grandmother marched at Selma. 60 years after Selma, 60 years after having the voting franchise, according to the Federal Reserve's own data in 2025, African Americans are nearly 14% of the population in the United States of America, but they only hold 3.4% of the wealth of the United States of America. White Americans are 57% of the population, and they hold 83% of the wealth.
No power.
Median black family net worth is $44,000. Median white family net worth is $282,000. That's 15 cents on the dollar. The Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis went back and reconstructed this wealth gap going back to 1860, and they found that this gap has been essentially flat for the last 40 years. It's been stagnant. It's been frozen. You understand? 60 years of African Americans voting Democratic at 90% margin, meaning voting blue 90% of the time, just like this
Nothing
sister who
gonna
wrote to me, that didn't help change the wealth gap. And home
Right.
ownership in 1960, before the Civil Rights Act, before the Fair Housing Act, before most of your grandmother's generation could vote, the black to white home ownership ratio, the gap was 26 points. There was a gap of 26 points between black and white home ownership. In 2020, 60 years after the voting was allowed, it's now 30 points. You understand? It got worse. The instrument that she fought for did not narrow the gap in any way whatsoever. It widened the gap.
So, right. So, Alfonso, I do agree with you that we are politically captured. But I will add that we are political chumps, because especially the ones who know we're politically captured and don't want to do nothing about it and can't and feel like they can't do anything about it. That's why I throw out the political chump thing. So, but yeah, Carnegie, you right on time. You right on time. And that's one of our biggest problems. We tell everybody everything, because remember, everybody's invited to the cookout. So are we really in a space where it's like black people can really organize on our own if everybody's invited to the cookout?
Not to mention unemployment. Black unemployment runs roughly twice the white rate. Always. Under Reagan, under Clinton, under Bush, under Obama, under Trump, under Biden, and under Trump again. The ratio doesn't move. The ratio does not respond to whoever is in office. And the same with mass incarceration. The Bureau of Justice statistics from just last September found that black adults are imprisoned at 5.3 times the rate of white adults in America. Talking about 1 in 54 black men is in prison right now today while I'm talking. The prison population in the United States of America went from 500,000, 500,000 in 1980 to 2.2 million in 2015, a 700% increase. And the architects of that machine were the people that you voted for.
Yep.
Joe Biden wrote the 1994 crime bill.
Video on
Bill
that.
Clinton signed it. The 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, which is the crack cocaine versus powder cocaine disparity that destroyed a whole generation of black people, of African Americans, that was supported with bipartisan support. Welfare reform that gutted the safety net for poor black people. Bill Clinton in 1996 passed that. Obama deported more people than any president before Trump. These are the people that you voted for, not the people that you voted against. These.
But also a point to that, what he's saying, and it goes to how a lot of people pay attention to what they pay attention to, and if they have an emotional attachment to it that's positive, they overlook things, or they conveniently never see things and never know things. But if their emotional attachment is negative, then they see everything, right? So a lot of people who are Democrats, and we know this because we have evidence. We know this through street interviews, where people will go out and they will take things that Democrats have ever either said or done that have negatively affected us. But they asked the question, posing it as if a Republican said, and then the person who is a voting Democrat will speak against what is being said, and then the person will reveal, well, Obama said this, or Bill Clinton said this, or Joe Biden said this, or Hillary Clinton said this, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, we're not even knowledgeable on what the people we're supporting are saying and actually doing in real life. Like, in real life, we don't even know. If you tell, like he just said, Obama deported more immigrants than Trump, but Trump is the big bad guy when it comes to the deportation thing. And I'm not saying I agree with any means or ways that he's doing anything, but the point is, if you're gonna be mad at somebody for doing something, be mad at everybody across the board. But how black people do it, especially when it comes to the Democrats, we make excuses for it. We'd rather die by 1,000 cuts. Black people literally have chosen to die by 1,000 cuts. We've literally chosen to die by 1,000 cuts. Like, come on. We got to understand, like, neither party has our best interest. Like I keep saying, when it comes to politics, what we should be doing, hey, this what we want for our votes. You want these votes? Dance. I want you tap dancing for my votes. I want you out there beating the pavement. I want you out there getting your fingernails dirty for my votes. I want you out there earning my vote. Because what we should be doing is playing whatever party out there, whatever party's out there. We should be playing those parties. They should be the ball on the end of our yo-yo string. They should be the puppet at the end of our string. This is what we want politically. This is what we want y'all to do. Dance for this vote. But nope, we out here tap dancing for people that we vote for. And they need us. They need us more than we need them. Child of God, how you doing? We should be, but you know, we insane.
To the works of the people that you yourselves delivered into office with the African American voting bloc. I'm asking, is that what your grandmother fought for at Selma? Is that what she fought for during the civil rights movement? Or police killings? 2024 was the deadliest year on record under a Democratic administration, Joe Biden. Black Americans are 12% of the population of the United States of America, but 26% of those who get murdered by the police. And that ratio is stable. It's completely stable for the entire decade for which we have data. You understand? It doesn't move when the White House changes hands. And in 99% of the cases, no officer is charged. It doesn't matter who you voted for. Now tell me, with all of that, what exactly did the vote deliver for African Americans? Now you might say it delivered Medicare, delivered Medicaid, expansion of Medicaid, the Affordable Care Act, and so forth. But be honest, what are those policies? What are those programs? None of those programs, not a single one of those programs was designed for African Americans. They were universalist policies that happened to pick up Black Americans, African Americans, incidentally, because Black Americans also happen to be disproportionately poor and disproportionately lacking in health care. You know as well as I do that they would have excluded Black people from those policies if they could have. In fact, yes, look at which of the American states refused to expand Medicaid. You're talking about Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, the so-called Black Belt. You understand? The states that have the highest Black populations. So even the spillover got geographically gated away from the people who would have benefited from it the most.
And remember, for the United States, the greatest disparities are in the Bible Belt. The greatest disparities are in the Bible Belt, but that's where a lot of that 92% is too. I'm not telling anybody who to vote for or who not to vote for. But what I am saying is vote sensibly. Your vote is to be earned, not just given. And you should have some kind of tangible outcomes for your vote. Why am I voting for you if I don't get my desired outcome for my vote? What's the point? And I'm going to do it again? Come on, man. And just remember one more time. The Bible Belt has the greatest disparities, or the bulk of the greatest disparities in the United States, though. You know what I'm talking about?
In other words,
hey, Alfonso, trust me, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. We got to have money. We do got to buy. We got to buy politicians. You got to play the game. We got to play the game. You do got to buy politicians, but also, if you want these votes, though, you still got to earn these votes. You got to earn these votes, though.
Because they did, in fact, exclude you as best they could. They found any kind of a which way to exclude you from it. And the things that Black people actually did get from the government that was actually directly for them, the things that they actually did get that was specifically for them, like the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and so forth, they did not get that by voting. Black Southerners couldn't vote in 1964. That's not how they got those concessions. They got those policies from what they did in Birmingham, what your grandmother did in Selma, what they did in Montgomery, and so forth, from mass disruption that made those places ungovernable until the law changed. Look at that. They responded more to African Americans without the vote than with the vote. You understand? That's the actual lesson, in my opinion. That's the actual lesson of your grandmother's life and of that whole generation. It's the opposite of the lesson that you've been taught. No, the franchise was won by people who didn't have the franchise. And once that franchise was won, all of the gains stopped. The leverage that won the vote in the first place got demobilized by the act of using the vote. You understand? So when you stand there on a Tuesday in November on election day, and you tell me that you are honoring your grandmother, madam,
No.
I'm telling you, with all due respect, you are not. You're performing a ritual. You're performing a ritual that was designed to absorb your grandmother's movement and neutralize it. You understand?
She don't understand that. Most black folk don't understand what he just said, what he's talking about. It's a reason why our idea of progress has not produced any real progress. What we believe we're fighting for, what we believe we have, whatever strategy, structure, or wins, whatever gains we believe we have, we don't understand how much has been diluted, how much the message has been diluted. There's no power behind it. You know, like when we talk about how black power has been replaced with black excellence. And you see how easy it is for white women to co-opt everything that we do, how easy it is for everybody to co-opt everything that we do and dilute it. I'm just saying, man, you know, we don't really understand the depths of what has happened to us, because if so, that lady wouldn't even wrote that letter. He wouldn't even have to explain all of this stuff, not just to her, but to millions of black people who think the way she thinks.
Gave her the vote instead of giving her power. They gave her the vote instead of giving her representation. They gave her the vote instead of giving her influence, instead of giving her a voice, and instead of giving her dignity. I said the chopping is not the house.
Made her feel good.
The voting is not the representation.
Made her feel good.
And the day that you understand that is the day that you start being dangerous to power again, the way that your grandmother was dangerous to power. Stay with me, because the deeper truth, this is what you need to know, and I keep telling you, the people that you elect, both parties, Republican and Democrat, all of them, are not running that country. They are middle management at best. They're just tenants in a building that they do not own. You understand me? 3 companies, just 3 companies, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Okay? Together, those 3 companies, they manage somewhere over $30 trillion in assets. That's trillion with a T. They are the single largest shareholder in 88% of the companies on the S&P 500. 88%. You understand me? They cast roughly a quarter of all shareholder votes in corporate America. The food you buy, the medicine that you take, the bank that your paycheck moves through on its way to go pay your bills, the company that owns the hospital that sister works for, the landlord that owns the building where you rent. If you go up the ownership chain of any of those, you go up the ownership chain, you're gonna hit those same 3 names. That's the private oligarchy with just 3 faces. 1 private oligarchy, 3 faces. That's the private sector trinity that you live under. And every politician that you ever voted for, whether it's Republican or Democrat, is operating according to what those asset managers want. It's very simple to understand. If they step outside of what those asset managers want, their career ends. That's the real power structure in America. So if that's the real power structure in America, what is the African American share of that power? Of that power, not the polling booth. You understand? At the actual table where the decisions are actually being made in real life. Well, of the 500 largest companies in that country, in the United States, companies that move something like 2/3 of all U.S. economic output, 9, maybe 10 of them, maybe 10 are run by black CEOs in 2026. That's not 9%, that's 9 companies. In other words, 1.
Terrell, a link to this full video it's in the description. So if you check out the description, it's in the full description of this video. You know, going back to Powernomics, and how we didn't use it. We never created power for ourselves. We never, well, I ain't gonna say we never did. We didn't rebuild for ourselves when it was destroyed by the white supremacists. We never rebuilt for ourselves. So there are no industries. There are no corporations. There's no aggregated power. There's no real strategy. We're really just throwing stuff at the wall and see what stick. Really, at this point, we're really just throwing stuff at the wall and see what stick. So, but no, that's a good analogy. I like your comment, Alfonso. You know what I'm saying? Lady said, why we ain't got no progress? And the dude saying, well, you contributed to my campaign, didn't you? You know? Yeah. It's your progress right here. Because you can't really do nothing to get real progress. Yeah, that's wild.
0.8%. In the 70 years that the Fortune 500 list has existed, only 28 black people have ever held a CEO position at any one of those companies, ever. Black Americans are about 13% of the total labor force, regular labor force. When you go up to the manager level, that drops to 7%. If you go up to the vice president or the senior vice president levels, it drops to 4% or maybe 5%. So the pyramid narrows very fast. It narrows so fast that you can watch it exclude most of the population, the African-American population, in real time as you climb. You understand? And the few black executives who do reach the top floor, they're not running funds that own corporate America. They're running individual companies who themselves are owned by BlackRock. Their largest shareholder is BlackRock or State Street or Vanguard. And obviously, you don't get to climb that ladder at all if you're not going to go through the same internal process of exclusion. Do you know what I mean? In other words, you climb that ladder by becoming more of what they want you to be and less of who you are and less of where you came from.
Especially when you operate inside of their industries, inside of their organizations.
You understand? You're not pulling anyone up when you climb that ladder. That's not how it works. You're leaving yourself behind. You're leaving who you are and who you were behind, and you're leaving everyone else around you behind when you climb that ladder. That's the condition. That's the condition for being allowed to climb that ladder.
What we talking about?
Now, I'm not telling you all this so that I can try and sell you on this the idea of so-called black capitalism. That's a different ideology altogether, and it comes with its own.
And that's the thing. That's another thing too. Like this, the black lady writing a letter to him, and he isn't saying anything that our scholars haven't already said. He isn't teaching anybody anything new. He isn't some genius that just knows this stuff nobody else knows. I guarantee you he read some of the same books and stuff that we have. He isn't saying anything new. What he's saying right now, Amos, that's why I held the book up. Amos Wilson been saying that. Dr. Anderson been saying that. Our scholars been telling us that. Hey, look, I did a whole book reading on Dr. Claude Anderson's Powernomics on this channel. Check out my black book readings, my black authors, my black books, and my black authors playlist. Got the whole Powernomics book. Then read it out. Hey, Pat. What I'm saying. He ain't saying nothing different, Pat. He ain't saying nothing different. Same thing our folk been telling us. But I guarantee you this lady hears it different because she sounds like an elder lady. So she might have come across some of this information. Guarantee you she receives it different from him. All she had to do is spend a little money and buy Powernomics. I mean, buy this book, Blueprint for Black Power. All she had to do buy this book. Just buy the book. She ain't saying nothing different. This dude not even in the United States, and she asked this man, "What can you do for me?" Not a damn thing, lady. What are you talking about?
Unique set of problems. I'm telling you this just so that you can see the structure of the country that you live in, the society that you live in. And the structure is that you have a tiny private oligarchy at the top who owns the system. And the political class manages that system on behalf of the oligarchy, okay? Black Americans have minimal representation at that middle management political layer. And they effectively have zero representation at the ownership layer. This is the facts. So when people argue about whether to vote Democrat or whether to vote Republican, what they're actually arguing about is just about which faction is going to be assigned the privilege of serving the oligarchy this time around. The owners don't change. The owners never change. And the owners are never on the ballot. You don't get a vote on the owners. No, your grandmother, in my opinion, most likely understood power. She understood power better than the people who tell her story today. She marched for recognition as a full human being whose existence mattered. The vote was the symbol of that recognition. It was not the substance of that recognition. We've spent 60 years confusing the symbol with the substance. You understand? So now you have the symbol. Yes, you have the symbol. You've got the lever. You've got the ballot. You can put your piece of paper in the box. But you have less and less of the actual substance every year. The wealth gap is what it is. Mass incarceration rate is what it is. The neighborhoods are what they are. And the people who decide what your neighborhoods are going to look like in the next 5 years or 5 years down the line, those people are not the people that you vote for.
Look, I've been telling people that for the longest, man. Like the way he just said. So it made me think about my community right now. Like Tallahassee right now it's changing. It does not look the same it did 10 years ago. Damn sure don't look the same it did 20, 25, 30 years ago. It's not the same, right? And our community keep getting notices like 10, 15 years in advance. Hey, we're going to take y'all community in 10, 15 years. And it's like, we like, dang. Because we can't do nothing about it. And we never sought to put ourselves in position to do anything about it. And we can't do anything about it now. And politically, like you're saying, we be voting for people who can't really help us. They can't really help us. Like we need to change the way we approach politics. I'm gonna just keep saying it over and over. We got to change the way we approach politics. Hey, so also protagonist, what's going on? How you doing? I'll say this: instead of waiting for a candidate to put my agenda on the table, we come to the candidates with our own agenda and our own policies right now. This is what we want. And of course, once again, we got to understand the game. We got to be able to buy politics, but we also have to be able to aggregate our vote and be able to work together as a block. I'm pipe dreaming. But I'm just saying, instead of waiting on a candidate to write our agenda or come with a policy, we need to be creating them for ourselves. We need to, whatever agendas, whatever policies that come that is going to be adopted to us need to come from us. But we need to play the game the right way so our policies and our agendas can be pushed specifically for us like everybody else does.
You don't even know those people's names. They're the people who own the buildings. They're the people who write the loans. They're the people who set the insurance rates and so forth. Most likely your grandmother would probably have understood that immediately. I don't think that she was naive about power. She just happened to live at a time when that particular paradigm, that particular understanding of the power structure and that particular understanding of the system had not yet been completely exposed as false to most people. And of course, the real power dynamics in 2026, anyway, are not what they were in 1965. The empire that she was living in 1965 is contracting in 2026. I'm telling you that your grandmother did what she did. She fought for what she fought for, most likely after making an evaluation of the real circumstances and the real conditions in her era, in her time. And you cannot act like the evaluation that she made 60 years ago is accurate today. It's not. You have to reassess.
But see, Pat, where you at? Pat, where you at? Something you always be talking about. Us approaching politics and any way you want to define politics, us approaching everything as black people today the same way we did 50, 60, 70 years ago. Pat, you talk about that all the time. Outdated strategies that didn't yield fully what they wanted back then that we're still using now. Still doing the same thing over and over and over and over because we don't understand the game. We don't get it. We never got it. So, oh nah, see, protagonist. Look, I appreciate everybody who come over here, and like I say, I'm not always right. Look, Nemesis always correcting me, Pat always correcting me, Battle Genja always correcting me, and I welcome it. I welcome people to correct me because I don't know everything and all those things. So we over here to build, and like I said, I welcome everybody's opinions. I welcome disagreements. My only ask is nobody be disrespectful, and we never attacking people for having different opinions because we're over here to build and we're over here to learn, man. And you know what I'm saying? Everybody don't see the world the same, and sometimes we just got to trade information. But nah, I appreciate that, but we not doing that over here. We grown over here, and I'm serious about us building. I'm serious about us something like those of us who give a damn. I'm not looking at it from a mass perspective for black people, but for us who give a damn. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're doing over here. So for the sake of time, I am going to stop this video right here. We get the point. We get the overall point. The link to the full video is in the description. So make sure you check it out. And he actually does have a part 2 that I need to check out. I haven't checked it out yet, but he does have a part 2. Yeah, Neela Fuller said, I'm still learning. Matter of fact, me, Pat, and PC was just on the phone earlier talking about how you can tell the difference between smart people and dumb people. You know, the people who come in the room and they got all the answers. They got all the answers and they always wrong versus the person. And they really believe that they're right. They really believe that they're right versus the person who's a truly intelligent person who doesn't believe that they're the most intelligent and they're always in the still learning stage because you know you don't know it all. So that's what we do over here, man. That's what we do. And I want to make sure I uphold our codes of conduct. We have codes of conduct that we live by, and I want to make sure I uphold our codes of conduct. And so that goes into treating each other right. And that's what we do over here. So I appreciate you. And you know, this home over here. I welcome all sensible black people over here. This home over here. This is how we do it. That's how we do it, man. But yeah, Will, you're right. The subservient attitude is a problem. The programming, we've been programmed to be subservient, but we got to flip that programming. But at the same time, we ain't trying to convince nobody to do nothing. You either down or you ain't. And if you ain't down, we ain't trying to convince you. You build your stuff over there, we're gonna build our stuff over here. That's how we do it. So close this thing on that right. Let's sit with the question that the sister asked, though, right? What are you offering me? She asked somebody who wasn't even in America, what are you offering me? Because that question cuts through ideology. It cuts through slogans. It cuts through party branding. And at the end of the day, people want security for their children, right? People want healthcare. People want stable schools, safe communities, economic opportunities. And most of all, people, they want dignity. And if Black Americans are going to move forward politically, we have to think beyond simply reacting every 4 years during election season, or like the gentleman said, Brother Bolson said, continue to go through the ritual. We must ask, not only what are we building, but what are we getting? Like, we must start asking critical questions about the voting process and the outcome, right? Because no community becomes powerful simply by voting alone. We don't become powerful by voting alone. Power requires institutions. That's why he was talking about BlackRock. That's why he was talking about those 3 major corporations that run everything, right? Power requires organization, political education, collective bargaining power, and long-term strategy, right? Voting does matter, but voting without leverage can turn into ritual-based transformation, as he talked about. And this is not about abandoning one party for another. It's about understanding that no political party should receive permanent loyalty without permanent accountability. The goal should not be comfortable inside the system. The goal should be to influence the system and change the system for our standards, for the betterment of us, right? Our ancestors in Selma fought for access. Now the question is for us, what are we going to do with the access? Now, sadly, we ain't done a lot with it, but that's the question. Will we continue voting mainly out of fear? Sadly, the majority of us, yes. Will we start to organize with a vision for our collective power? Sadly, for the most of us, no. But that is the challenge for a small number of us, the critical mass of us, to be able to do what we can, establish what we can for ourselves. We ain't trying to save everybody. But if you got your mind right and you are ready to put in the work, do what we can for the number of us who give a damn, then let's get to work. This ain't for everybody. It's for the right bodies. Y'all know what it is, man. I love y'all, man. I love y'all. We're going to keep doing what we do over here. Oh, Instagram to disconnected because it went over an hour. So shout out to all my Instagram folk. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Yeah. Shout out to my Instagram people. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Remember, we come on here to trade ideas to learn, to get better. But the real work starts in real life. Go back into your real life and make sure you are implementing everything to be better, to get better, to grow. And remember, this ain't for everybody. It's for the right bodies. Please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. Please continue to support my brother, Professor Carlton Jones. Continue to support my brother, Patrick Irvin. Once again, shout out to Jeff St. James from the Ask a Brother podcast. Shout out to the Realest Chat on YouTube. Shout out to me, Kim Tate. Shout out to everybody who continued to support the channel. Shout out to DSB. All the brothers who continue to support the channel. Matter of fact, let me go ahead. Let me make sure I get the names, all my names that I want to get. So I can be right. Let me do this real quick. Pull this up real quick on this. All right, come on, internet. All right, where we at? Let me find my Dion Carpenter. Appreciate you, Dion Carpenter. Me, Kim, appreciate you. Jeffrey Morgan, appreciate you. Yeah. People who be supporting the channel, I appreciate y'all. We're going to continue to do what we do. I appreciate you, Battle Genja. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Hey, Will, we need to do a follow-up. We need to do a follow-up on what's going on with my QCL. So let's talk, man. Let's talk. We need to do a follow-up. Let's talk. Hey, y'all continue to be great, man. I see y'all live. Me, PC, and Pat, we see y'all live tomorrow night at 7. We still talking politics. We talk about this redistricting and what's happening in Tennessee and some of these other areas. So catch y'all tomorrow. Peace out. Y'all be good.